What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to episode number 357 of the Smark Moment Smack Talk podcast, Hot Tags of the Week, where I will break down some of the current events and the few little bits of news that have happened this week and anything else really that went down that I think that we should be talking about. I'm your host, as always, Tony Mango. And how y'all doing tonight? Make sure you leave your comments below. Tell me what you think of these 4 topics to talk about. Slow news week, or at least as far as from my perspective. I've mentioned this before, but I don't get a chance to really check out other stuff than WWE, so I know there's some people that are talking about Cody Rhodes winning the IWGP United States Championship or something like that, and I know that some people are talking about, oh god, I can't even think of the guy's name, but some dude that's supposed to be getting signed to Punishment Martinez, I think is his name. That he's potentially getting signed soon. I've nothing to really chime in on those kind of topics, and I'm also not interested in talking about the same topics over and over and over again, so no more talk about Brie Bella until something happens, no more talk about rumors of when is Hulk Hogan popping up at Crown Jewel, like, we talked about it all before. So, that kind of rules out a lot of stuff, and some other things are going to be brought up with the whole predictions for Super Showdown happening later on this week, and that's kind of where we're at here. So there's not really all that much to talk about, but there are a couple things at the very least, and one of them is about, actually 2 of them are potentially about SmackDown 1000. That episode is coming up pretty soon. It's October 16th, and of course they're going to try to make it a big deal. Raw 1000 was something that they kind of treated as like a pseudo pay-per-view to a certain extent. Not in the same regard as like Super Showdown and stuff, where it's like a glorified house show, but just a slightly more important episode of Monday Night Raw. I'm assuming the same thing's going to happen here with SmackDown. My guess is what we're going to get is, out of the 2 hours, we're going to get maybe 3 important matches, maybe a title change, maybe not, because it is only 2 hours. A couple different spots of people returning, and a lot of video packages of, do you remember this great thing that used to happen on SmackDown? Here's a breakdown of some of the best matches that have ever happened, and here's like some of the funniest moments, and some different things like that. I'm honestly not looking all that much forward to it, but now there's at least a little bit more to get interested. One of them is that they've announced that Evolution is going to reform, which is weird timing because they're going to be talking about Evolution, and then it's going to be like, hey, by the way, we have Evolution coming up. It's a pay-per-view that we just decided to call the all-women's pay-per-view because we couldn't think of anything else, and we wanted to be all like gung-ho, politically correct about things and talk about this like driving force, and we didn't want to call it Driving Force or something, so it's always Evolution, and they kind of aren't thinking of the fact that Evolution was there. But we will see Ric Flair, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Triple H, I don't know why I called him Hunter Hearst Helmsley there, Randy Orton, and Batista. Batista is the most interesting aspect of this. Flair we've seen a million times. He's going to come out, he's going to woo, he's going to, he's going to be Flair. Triple H will be the one commandeering the whole talking aspect of it. Randy Orton, I'm assuming they're going to kind of put his Legend Killer thing on hold a little bit, or maybe he attacks somebody like Ric Flair, and that's how they get a little bit of heat from him. Batista, here's the thing with Batista. I'm looking at the potentials for WrestleMania next year, and I can't see anything for the United States. Can't see anything for the United States title right now because they're not doing jack shit with it. The Universal Championship, to me, the only thing that makes sense is Roman Reigns versus Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins. A Shield triple threat is the only match that's going to matter. But if Batista comes back, there is the slight potential possibility that we get Roman Reigns versus Batista. My philosophy is they've already screwed this up. I would have gone with Braun Strowman winning the championship or fighting for the championship and being a babyface going into WrestleMania. But they already fucked that up. So I'm hoping Batista versus Braun Strowman is in the mix. And I'm hoping that Braun Strowman is the babyface. Highly doubt that's going to happen. If it happens, I'm assuming Braun Strowman is going to be the heel, but we might see some kind of, Batista comes back and he starts getting the itch a little bit, and then we get him at WrestleMania by winning the Royal Rumble or something like that. We might get that. They might literally do, we just did this whole repeat of Roman Reigns against Brock Lesnar. They might do a repeat of having Batista win the Royal Rumble and kind of pissing people off and doing all that kind of thing. They might do that all over again and just go like, hey, it didn't work before. Let's see if it happens with this crowd, I don't know. But that's a rumor. Another rumor is that Rey Mysterio is going to be making his official return on that show. Some are saying that he may be popping up at Super Showdown, but I can't imagine a scenario where that would really make a whole lot of sense, other than potentially just, people are fighting in the ring and he comes out and makes the save, but that's pretty lame. So it makes more sense to me for him to come out on SmackDown 1000, especially because 2K19 is already going to be out at that point, and maybe the first week of sales is already over. Then, you want to kind of boost up a little bit of sales after that point. You bring him out at that, and maybe some more people are interested. I don't know. Let's see what we got here. We've got a little bit of speculation. It might just be pure speculation, but there might be something to it. Brian Kendrick was seen alongside William Regal at the PWG Battle of Los Angeles event, and that brought up this idea that he might be working in a backstage capacity, and he may be on more along the lines of, I guess, like job hunting towards a performance center job. Now, Kendrick has been working as a trainer here and there. He worked with Eva Marie, although that's not the best person to be proud of. And if he has that connection with William Regal, and if he has a connection with, several other people where he's somebody who they can trust to be like an in-ring technician type of guy, he could be the type of guy that is a talent scout. And if he looks at somebody and thinks, there might be something to them, and maybe has like some kind of a talk with that person and says like, if you work on this and that, then we'll be giving you a look in the future, something like that. I think Brian Kendrick could be one of those guys. And it would be very interesting to see if he's a part of that next group of people that becomes like the next Dean Malenko type, a producer, a backstage kind of guy. I would assume more along the lines of the Performance Center than like the scripting, the on-air kind of material. But that's pure speculation. Let's see. We've got more possible changes coming to the WWE Network. We've talked about this a little bit before, but the fact that they keep harping on some of these things makes it seem like it's a guarantee that it's going to happen at some point. But with the contracts for the TV shows being settled, the story going around right now is Vince is looking at kind of taking things to the next step forward. And in 2019, at some point, we will get the implementation of the tiered service plans. And what that means, if you're not following how that works and stuff like that, is you would have different pay structures based off of different levels of content of what the WWE Network would be. So maybe you don't like the WWE Network at $9.99. Maybe you are really only interested in watching old matches. And maybe in your mind, $4.99 would really work. Maybe that's going to be one of the tiers. Maybe it's like, all right, you get access to old material, but you don't get to watch the pay-per-views. And then say you get the $9.99, you keep exactly what you are right now, and you don't get anything changed. It's just, you're grandfathered in type of a thing. And then there's maybe the idea of $14.99 or $19.99. And the idea being that they could bring in house shows that they could record, which I highly doubt. I really don't assume that that's going to happen. Or that they can purchase other tape libraries, one of them being possibly Impact. Now, the Impact Wrestling thing is very interesting because they just had that meeting recently with people from Impact. And supposedly, this was not about anything. It was one of those things where it's just like, hey, let's just meet up. I don't buy it. You don't meet up for the sake of meeting up. It's not like they went and they got a cocktail together to shoot the shit and talk about old times. This had to be for something. Whether it was to purchase their end of the material and then they can surrender the Global Force material and dissolve the Global Wrestling Network. Or maybe they're legitimately thinking of outright buying Impact. And WWE is making a lot of money recently. I mean, they're struggling in some ways, creatively and everything like that, but they are making a lot of money. And if they just outright buy Impact, they've got access to a lot of those kind of things. And it can be kind of like WCW. I can't imagine that they would buy the tape library and let Impact continue to be, a separate entity and then continue to use the tapes, because at that point, they're essentially funding this company that they're not controlling. So they basically would be, I guess, we're going to own all of your material up until a certain point, and then after that, it's not necessarily the case anymore, which is very confusing. Or they buy Impact. I could see them just buying them. Other tape libraries, I'm sure that there's different things in the mix here from different indie feds and stuff like that. Probably Progress, probably Evolve, whatever the case may be and stuff. But that's something that they are talking about, and they've talked about it a lot. So you may see a change to the pricing of the WWE Network sometime next year. Finally, the last hot tag for me to talk about is the latest special for the WWE Network, which was the Table for Three with 3MB. Slater, Mahal, and McIntyre sat down. They talked about what it was like to team up together, what it was like to be at that part of their career where they were really just not doing anything, and to try to take something that's really not all that advantageous and run with it and see if they can kind of make their careers work at that point. And it's basically what you kind of expected it to be. Like, they talk about how it wasn't the best thing in their minds. They went through the whole, I want to be the WWE champion and I want to be main eventing WrestleMania, to, oh, I guess I'm going to be like a total jobber kind of a thing. But you try to make the best with it. And then with Mahal and McIntyre, their releases, it got them to kind of think about motivation, and Slater's kind of keeping it up and saying, like, I know my part, I'm the funny guy, that kind of a thing. So I think it's still worth watching. I would still say see it if you're interested, but it's not the best Table for Three. That's it. That's all we got going on here. I don't know if that means that anything crazy is going to happen over the next couple of days, but if it does, I'll be addressing it during the Super Showdown predictions, which is the next time that you guys are going to be hearing from me. And then we've got the Super Showdown post-show, which is going to be posted sometime early in the morning, or in the afternoon at the very least, right after the show. I'll be recording that. So yeah, I'm going to be up 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. or whatever the case may be, doing my normal crap that I do, which is a lot of fun. So, I apologize in advance for the fact that the Super Showdown predictions are going to be me crapping all over the card, and then the post-show is probably going to be me crapping all over the card. But we'll see. Whatever the case may be, hit that subscribe button on YouTube and ring the bell for notifications to be aware of when those videos go up, and also follow the Facebook and Twitter accounts. They're both at SmarkOutMoment. Pay attention to smarkoutmoment.com for all the other material that I've got going on throughout the week as well, like the weekly posts and stuff. Still trying to formulate a little bit of that here and there. And, anything else that pops up. We've got plenty of different things happening over the course of this month. We've got 3 events essentially happening over the course of 5 weeks. So that's going to be kind of crazy. And I'm not too sure what next week's main event for SmackDown is going to be, or for Smack Talk. So if you have any suggestions, drop them in the comments below. Tell me what you think that you might want to see. Maybe we'll do a play the game or something like that. Maybe we'll do, wrestling with the past. I don't know. Whatever the case may be. We'll figure it out. And always check out fanboysanonymous.com as well for anything that I've got going on there. I know at the very least this week I'm going to be watching Venom on Thursday night. So you will hear my review where I am almost assuredly going to rip that movie apart, because I can't imagine it being good under Sony's puppetry. And yeah, all right. Well, that's it, everybody. So thank you all for listening to this. And if you want to show your support for another different way, and it's in the spare change kind of mentality, one thing to do is hit up that Patreon account for either the Fanboys or the Smark Out Moment one, or both. And whatever you got, $1, $5, it all makes a big difference. Another thing to be aware of, too, is the TeePublic and the Redbubble shops for Smark Out Moment, A Mango Tees, and Fanboys Anonymous. I think that's all I really got to say. So, follow me all over the place at Tony Mango, and I will see you next time, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all your support. Adios. This has been another Smark Out moment, and I'm being counted out.